Hey friends, it's Rosalind. Welcome back to our gardens at our tiny flower farm. Today we're going to walk through the garden together and just look at all of the roses that are in bloom. And we're also going to go out into the new cut flower garden, the new perennial cut flower garden out front, and see some of the things that are in bloom out there as well. But I wanted to just bring you in here and walk through the garden before some of these things go out of bloom. And I did bring my rose tags along, so I don't forget the names of the roses. But let's just hop in here and see what's blooming. Back here where you see the tarp in the grass, that is a whole bunch of sunflower and cosmos seedlings, and I think it's going to be very pretty once everything grows up. This is an oh so easy lemon zest rose that I bought. It was my first rose I ever bought, and it has very tiny flowers, but it's a very sweet rose. It's moved 3 times and it's still surviving, still hanging on. The lavender is starting to bloom, and over here the phlox. Oh, I love this time of year when the phlox start blooming, and it's backed up by a purple clematis. And then we have a miniature apricot rose. The layering is so fun in here. I think we're just going to go around this way and see everything that's blooming, and then we'll come down this pathway again. This is purple penstemon, which the honeybees and the bumblebees absolutely adore. And then we have a Harlow Carr rose. This is a small cupped rose. This is what the buds start to look like. And then it opens up to a shallow cupped rose with lots of petals. It's not my favorite rose. So I'm thinking maybe I'll move it in the future and plant a Bosco Bell rose in here. Down below the Harlow Carr rose, we have, I had thought I had removed this yellow Asiatic lily, and obviously I left some of the bulbs, but I did plant a new lily in here last fall, and that one's coming up right in the middle of it. So I guess we'll have 2 tones of lilies going on in here. But this is something I'm so excited about. So this spring I had bought this bare root rose. It's a sensuous rose. Isn't that so pretty? And I thought it wasn't going to push any growth. I had been growing it in a planter. But look at that. Isn't that so exciting? Back here, the ranunculus were such a pretty show this spring, and we had lots of cut flowers from it. Now we're just waiting until the foliage yellows, and then we'll take them out and plant something else in there. This is Oscar Peterson rose, and it's not a cut flower rose, but you can see it. Look at this. The honeybees adore this flower. It smells good. It looks so pretty in the landscape. I love looking at it from this view. The peonies are done blooming, but look at this. The clematis have started blooming, and this is just such a fun view, looking through the purple flowers into the cut flower garden. And then we have some lilies. I can't remember the name. Is it apricot fudge, I think, that have just started blooming. And then we have a Vanessa Bell rose. I'm not sure what's happening. I did fertilize it, but you can see the petals look kind of brown. I do know that this spring, like a lot of the roses they stayed closed for a long time because it was just cold and wet. And this is what a lot of them have opened up to, unfortunately. But I'm hoping it'll pull through and look pretty later this summer. I almost forgot. I have to show you this because it's something so exciting. It's the first year that I have successfully grown sweet peas, and I am so excited about it. They smell so good. Oh, aren't they so sweet? Do you remember the sweet pea trellis that I had made for them? There's one on each side. And this one doesn't have any blooms yet, but it's growing. Back here we have a raised bed with some vegetables in it and some bunny tail grass. I am so excited about that grass because I guess they're supposed to be very sweet in dried flower arrangements. And the poppies are pretty much done blooming. The honeybees have been all over this plant. We have another purple penstemon, and then some creeping phlox that I got from a friend a few years ago, and it blooms from spring through fall. So pretty. The butterflies love it. I just realized I skipped right over this rose. This is one I planted last week. This is the Alnwick rose. This is what the blooms look like. So obviously it's still a baby plant. We did have a couple of blooms, but we have some more buds coming along. And back here we have a new clematis. So the clematis that I did have on here did not make it through the winter. and I found a new one that I totally am in love with. I mean, look at that. It's called Multi Blue, and it's a double blooming. Now, it doesn't look like a double right now because it's a baby, but can you imagine these blooms growing up here over this trellis? And it grows, I think, it grows 6 to 8 feet tall. This is one peony that still has a couple of blooms on it. This is such a pretty peony. I don't really use it for cut flowers, but I love seeing it in the landscape. It holds up a little better than a lot of the peonies do. You can see it topples over a little bit, but not as much as a lot of them do. Back here we have catmint blooming. Bumblebees, honeybees adore that one. And then there's not a whole lot in bloom in here until the back border or the back of the border. There is some Canterbury bells. I started these from seed February of 2024 using the winter sowing method. Then in spring, I just planted them out here into the garden. They didn't bloom last year because they're a biennial, but now, oh my goodness, the wait was worth it. Just look at those blooms. You see the butterflies like it, as well as the bees. There's some lupin that I had started from seed using the winter sowing method. Over here, there's some baptisia that is almost going out of bloom. And I have to think, what is the name of this one? This is a baby Joe pieweed, and it does kind of seed itself around, but the seedlings are very easy to pull. It's just kind of seeded itself around right in here. Behind it, we have a 9-bark that is just going out of bloom, and you see it has the pretty seed heads left over, which are very nice to use in cut flower arrangements. Back here, actually, I'll show you this first. This is my butterfly pea flowers. They are not very big yet, but they are putting on just a little bit of growth. The rabbits had eaten them quite a bit, so I'm glad to see them recharging. And this is my old greenhouse frame. That's where they're growing on. But back here, there's some more Canterbury bells. And we do have a little fairy garden that I haven't filled up yet this spring. I do like to just add in little pops of surprises everywhere in the garden. So that's why I have a fairy garden in here. I think it's so fun when you're just walking through a garden and stumble on little surprises like this. So hopefully soon I can get that one filled. The Sarah Bernhardt peony, it has a little bit more shade. So this one is still blooming, but you see Sarah Bernhardt definitely topples over if she isn't staked. Back here, the lemony, or this isn't a lemony lace elderberry, it's a Black Beauty elderberry. And it had the prettiest blooms on it this spring. And it's the first spring that it's flowered for me. I think this is the third spring that I've had it. The honeysuckle is looking so pretty. It did have some aphids on it earlier this spring, but I took care of that. The herb garden is coming along so sweetly. The nasturtiums along the front, a couple of them are starting to get their blooms. There is a rose in here that I'm so excited to share with you once it starts blooming. It's called Flavorette Peared. It's from Great Garden Plants. Oh my goodness. That is a fun addition to an herb garden. But there's just a whole bunch of different herbs in here. And I had kind of shared with you when I planted it. The incredible hydrangea is just getting ready to bloom. And back here in front of the chicken coop, we have a climbing rose, and it's called Royal America. I absolutely love this rose. It has 40 plus petals, and it's just like it blooms continuously from spring through fall. Such a pretty rose, and it's so easy to take care of. This is my first ever climbing rose, and I transplanted it here. You might remember earlier this spring we transplanted it from over here. Try not to make you dizzy. From behind this little garden shed. We did have an evergreen in here for winter interest. Every fall I have a couple of planters that I have some evergreens in for winter interest, but I removed that the other day and planted it out back to where we are going to have a secret garden eventually also. Do you guys remember the wildflower patch that we put in this past fall and winter? Look, there's some blooms back there. There's also weeds, but there's lots of blooms and the honeybees are loving it. But I just did some pink and red flowers in front of the chicken coop. I thought that would be sweet for the chickens. As we turn around and head down the pathway, there's some strawberries on this side, and over here there's a little bench completely surrounded by plants. There's some echinacea and lilies that are just starting to bloom. There's some alliums that are budding up, getting ready to bloom. And over here on this side of the garden, we do have our vegetable patch. And then on the other side of the tunnels, I forgot to show you, those plants are doing so good. On the other side of the tunnels, we have our cut flowers. And I am breeding some zinnias in there, which is so exciting. I can't wait to share more of that once they start blooming. In here, just ignore that. I still haven't finished my brick border. The milkweed or the butterfly weed milkweed is just starting to bloom. There's some delphiniums, and this is Litchfield Angel Rose. Oh my goodness, that color is so pretty. It starts out like this, but it kind of goes to this soft apricot color. And once it's aged, it has more of a white cream color. It's just an absolutely gorgeous rose. Highly recommend having this rose in your garden. Oh my goodness. We have to take a closer peek at this rose. Oh, isn't that so pretty? Behind the little garden shed, there's some columbine that's blooming. There is some phlox. Lavender is just getting ready to take off. I love how it kind of sways out over the pathway. We recently planted these planters together. Was it last week? I shared in a shorts video how I put this one together. And back here, oh, this is a rose that I'm also so excited about. Planted it just this spring as a bare root, and it's called Lavender Crush Climbing Rose. Supposed to bloom continuously from spring or from early summer through fall. It'll be fun to watch it climb up this obelisk. And on this side, there's not a whole lot in bloom until we come up here. Then we have the Emily Bronte Rose. This is another one that's kind of doing just the same thing that Vanessa Bell Rose is, but you can still see its pretty color. I love using this one in cut flower arrangements because of its pretty color. This clematis, this was one of my first clematises I had ever planted. Faithfully comes back every summer. So pretty. The daisies down below are just getting ready to take off. And I did pop in some dahlias in here earlier this spring. Those are just starting to come up. Okay, we are going to head up to the patio, and we're not going to look at the patio because Harley is right in the middle of staining the deck and the patio up here. But there is some plants in the patio garden that I really wanted to show to you. This space, I have to see if I can find a picture of what it looked like just a couple of years ago because none of this was in here. But this is a clematis, Jackmani clematis. You can see it is completely filled with buds. And I think it's a little behind because it gets quite a bit more shade than the other clematis do. But oh, it's so pretty when it starts blooming. The columbine in here is pretty much done. The lamium, oh my goodness. Love lamium in the landscape. It's a beautiful ground cover. And over here, there's not a whole lot of blooms in here, but it's filled in so sweetly. Now, a little eyesore. This is where all of my plants collect and gather until I get them planted into the ground. But last night I went to Menards and they had their bloomable roses on sale for $10. Can you believe that? So this is Romantica Moonlight. I am so excited to add this into the cut flower garden, and this is just a little bit of its stats. But oh, it says it smells so good and it's supposed to be great to use in cutting arrangements. And then I did get another Parfuma Earth Angel because I already do have two of them. But if it's only $10, we cannot leave that behind. But oh, just look at those blooms. In just a second, we'll head out to the new perennial cut flower garden. But first, I wanted to share these roses with you. So these were here when we moved to this house. And oh my goodness, I'm not a fan of knockout roses, but these were so eye-catching the first time we came to see our house. I mean, oh, aren't they just so pretty? They bloom from early summer right up until the frost takes them. And they are just they bring such a bright spot up here in front of the porch. The sun is climbing a little bit higher in the sky and it's a little bit brighter and it's making the camera darken up a little bit. So I hope you can see this okay. But this garden is, oh, I just love this garden because it's not even 2 years old yet. But I have Earth Angel Rose on each side of the pathway as we come into the entrance of the garden. And you see we have buds, but they aren't open yet. I wish it would be open so I could show the blooms to you. Back here we have a clematis on each side of the pathway as well. I planted this one just this spring, so it hasn't really climbed up yet. But these blooms are so adorable. They just remind me of little fairy hats or something. They're so sweet. I'm sorry about the traffic noise. We're right out here by the road, so there's always lots of traffic going past. This is Climbing Eden Rose. Obviously still doesn't have blooms. I planted that one as a bare root earlier this spring, but if we come over here, this is a bare root that I had planted this spring as well. This is Cathedral Bells. Look at this bloom. Oh, this flower is going to be so sweet. Just for reference, this is what it looks like when it opens up. Isn't that so pretty? Oh, I can't wait to watch this one grow. And there is some lilies that will be blooming soon. And this is Southern Charm Robascum. I think I had showed it to you in an earlier video, and they're kind of fading out, but they are such a pretty, whimsical flower. Highly recommend growing this one from seed because every cottage garden needs this. Over here we have Coco Loco Rose that I covered up because the rabbits were eating it. And then we do have another one planted right here. It did have, this was also from bare root this spring. It did have a flower on it just yesterday, but it fell apart. Over here, I'm just kind of jumping all over the garden because there's lots to see in here. Over here on this side, this is a Coco Loco Rose that I had planted last summer. And I had thought it hadn't made it through the winter because all of its stems were black, but just look at all of the growth we have. When this rose blooms along with the Southern Charm Robascum, it is so pretty. Back here, we have Stainless Steel Rose, and I don't think there's any blooms on it. There's also some lilies, a forsythia, an apple tree that is leaning over because it is filled with apples. I need to come in here and stake it up. But you can see we have buds on stainless steel, and this is the color of its blooms. I mean, can you imagine this color growing up this obelisk? Oh, I think it's going to be so pretty. Over here, on the other side, on this obelisk, we have Princess Charlene. She grows between 5 and 6 feet tall, I believe. I have to throw a picture up on the screen of when I had blooms from her just a couple weeks ago because that's another rose that is so pretty with this green color of the obelisks. I thought in another 2 weeks or so we could just again walk through the gardens together because there will be lots of new things in bloom. It feels like this time of year, every day there's something new that's opening up, something new that's blooming, and it's so fun. But thank you for walking through the garden with me today, friends. I hope it's been inspiring, and happy gardening in your own garden. Have an amazing week, and I will see you right back here next Saturday. Bye.